Some people in Northeast Tennessee say their checks for disaster relief after Helene have gone missing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Casey Marler. Those families now working to get that money back. In late February, the Federal Emergency Management Agency told News Channel 11 that they have approved more than $29 million in federal assistance for more than 7,000 individuals and households throughout Tennessee.
People in several counties that were impacted by Helene have reported missing checks from FEMA. News Channel 11's Karen Jenkins learned how that is impacting recovery and what's being done to help these people who don't have the aid that they need. Karen?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we reported about a flood victim in Unicoi County whose FEMA check had been stolen and cashed by someone else. And since then, we've been contacted by several other victims with similar stories of their assistance checks being cashed in other areas of the country in their name. And many still have not seen a dime, and they're getting more frustrated by the day.
It's just been a nightmare. It's absolutely ridiculous the way it was handled.
David Davis and his wife barely escaped their home in Bumpus Cove before it was swept away by floodwaters. They thought assistance from FEMA could help them rebuild, but the checks never came. Davis says getting resolution from the federal agency has been frustrating.
So when you call, you're on hold for 4.5 hours. And then when you finally get a hold of somebody, evidently you get a hold of a person that takes the messages.
In October, Davis said he was told FEMA would stop payment on his missing checks, but that it could take up to 3 months to reissue payment while they investigate what happened. Davis says he knows what happened. His check and identity were stolen, and his check was cashed in Knoxville at First Horizon Bank in December in an account in his name, 2 months after payment was to be stopped.
They deposited on December the 20th. On like January the 8th, they pulled a big amount out in cash. And then they just used a debit card like they were me all over Knoxville.
Davis made a report with the Knoxville Police Department and told FEMA what happened.
FEMA told me that there wasn't nothing more they could do, that it was in the hands of the Treasury, so I need to call the Treasury.
Davis's story is all too similar to a neighbor, Russell Rogers. His daughter says his checks were stolen and they believe deposited in a bank out of state.
I want to know how they got an account opened up in my dad's name and how that check got deposited.
Like Davis, Tina says her dad is still waiting for a new check to be issued to repair their flooded home. Also like Davis, Tina says getting help from FEMA for this situation has been difficult and time-consuming.
Well, now I've kept up with FEMA. I've tortured them. They can't. If they say they like me when this is over, they're going to be lying.
FEMA said in an email to News Channel 11 that it cannot discuss individual cases and added if survivors believe a check may have been stolen and cashed, they're urged to contact its fraud division in Washington, D.C. Now, as you can imagine, part of the complexity of these cases is knowing which agency should take the lead to investigate where the check was stolen, where it was cashed. Is this federal or a local case? And one investigator told me it's all of the above. He's been working the case locally. He's been in touch with the Postal Inspector, the Department of Homeland Security, and of course FEMA and the Treasury Department. We'll continue to follow this story and let you know when there is resolution for these victims.